Zealand-wide issue. All of us are touched and experience mental health challenges in our lifetime, and we are determined to do better than we have been doing. And a big way of doing that is actually partnering with community organisations that are doing amazing work that we want to power up in order to get better outcomes for New Zealanders. It's great to be here with Matt Doocey, obviously my good-looking doppelganger, but also our mental health minister who's leading the charge and driving better results across the country. With that, having taken questions to make that.
There were no time frames in the targets that you've released. So when will New Zealanders who are needing access to mental health services get, basically when will we reach those targets?
The first thing I say is all our targets are tied into 2030, our better public service targets. We have healthcare targets that fall off the back of this, as well as mental health targets and other things, but it's all tied into 2030. We know that we're setting some pretty big and ambitious goals, but actually we want targets because it actually focuses our ministers and our government. It also focuses very much our public service. Matt, did you want to talk more to that?
Yeah, when you look at the 5 targets, 4 of them are new, so we're going to have to establish baseline data. But if you take the workforce target, we're currently tracking at about 428 mental health and addiction professionals trained every year out of baseline funding. I'm looking to take that up to that target of 500 in the next year out of baseline funding as well. But if you look at the first target, about 80% hitting the 3-week mark for specialist services. Currently young people are at about 69%, so our plan is to increase that around 2 or 3% year on year, and the sooner we can get those targets met, the better.
So just looking at that workforce target, so that's really only about an extra 80 professionals a year that you need to be training in order to hit that target. And then if you look at the workforce shortages that we've got, there's, some estimates are around 1,000 across the workforce with addiction services. There's over 600 professionals who we are down. So is that going to be enough? And B, where is the money to train all these new people that we so desperately need?
Yeah, well, as I said in my speech, the Auditor General stated that we don't have a mental health and addiction workforce plan, which has largely led to the position we're in today with the workforce vacancies tracking up over the last few years. It beggars belief we don't actually have a plan. So I'm putting that plan together now, which will be announced very soon. The first step, though, is actually how much can we increase from the baseline workforce funding, and we're giving a target of going from 428 to 500. We're going to go through each discipline or profession looking at the increase, and then from there we'll look at what new funding we need to grow that workforce as well.
And what
I'll just say is, just remember we put $16.7 billion into the healthcare budget at the budget. What we've also done is we've got a mental health budget that's ring-fenced. It's grown to $2.6 billion, up another $200 million over the course of this 1 year on 1 year. And we're doing things like initiatives like we've got today to actually say we want innovation in the system. We need innovation. We need new ideas that are going to get those outcomes. And that's why we're powering up those community organisations, and we're continuing to do more of that work. So what I'm saying to you is, we've got a huge investment, unprecedented investment in the healthcare budget coming, with $16.7 billion going in over the next 4 years. That is unprecedented. We've already stepped up $200 million into the mental health budget to 2.6. We've got the money, but we've got to get a focus on actually delivering those outcomes around workforce and those mental health targets in particular.
Just on that innovation fund, we've seen $26 million go to Government Friday across 4 years, and that's left only $10 million for the rest of the sector. So I guess has your coalition promise just left crumbs for the rest of the innovation sector?
I wish you'd look at it a little bit more positively, which is to say what we're doing here is we're starting with a mental health innovation fund. We actually want to see which organisations actually can demonstrate the criteria that Matt outlined to make sure that we actually get people applying and actually getting those results and outcomes that we need to do. If it's successful, we're going to power up more and more and tip more and more money into it. So what we've got is a starting mechanism that we want to see how that goes. We want to make sure that it's delivering against that criteria, it's getting those results. I'm very confident that it will, but we think the model going forward is for us to power up community organisations, as I've talked about. moving it from all that money sitting in Wellington, not getting results and outcomes, getting it powered up into the community sectors to do that. So this is a start, as Matt said at the very beginning. We hope that it's really successful. We hope that it's oversubscribed. We hope we have great innovation, great ideas, great community organisations that actually have unique solutions to the problems and challenges that we've been experiencing. And let's go, and let's give it a go, because we've got to do something different from what we've been doing.
And I guess just go back to the 2030 target. So many New Zealanders are in crisis now, or parents who can see their children in crisis. Is 6 years really good enough for those people who need access to those services right
Well,
now?
again, what I just say to you is remember that for our whole government, across our social services, we've set 9 better public service targets. We have got them bounded on 2030 because they are big and they're ambitious and they're aspirational. But don't confuse that that's just us not moving fast. We are moving fast. If we can deliver it sooner, we will. But what I'm doing is quite different by putting targets into the system and having everybody in the public service understand what they're doing when they go to work today and what their goal is. We're making it crystal clear about our expectations of the public service and the funds that are going in. So that's what the point of the targets is to focus the government, focus my ministers on delivering outcomes and results for New Zealanders. Yes, we'll go as fast as we possibly can. Yes, we're putting more money in. And yes, we're wanting to partner with community organisations to get that innovation and those results that we're looking to see in mental health, but also across a number of our social services as well.
So Minister, did you know Mackay's and Rory are
Yes, I do. I know Doug Mackay well, and I caught up with him recently, actually in middle of May. And Trish and the family are incredible people, wonderful people, great family. Out of respect, I don't want to say too much more, but it's a tragic situation. They're a wonderful couple, incredible family, and our thoughts and prayers are very much with them at this difficult time, really difficult time.
Could you just tell us maybe a little bit about Trish and who she was?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk and comment too much about that. I just suffice to say I have huge respect for the family, and I have huge respect for Doug in particular, who I knew really well, and I just know the shock, the trauma, the sadness, and that will be with that family at this time. And they are great New Zealanders and great people, and I just want the country and their friends and family and their community to get around them and love them. Yeah.
You said this morning that you could have communicated policy around boot camps better. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, look, I mean, yeah, let's be clear, we're not all perfect. We're all human, and we're all grossly imperfect, and so we don't get it right all the time. But what I just say to you is, on boot camps, I don't make any apologies, because there is lots of pundits and commentators and media that are against the idea. But I'm sorry, I'm on the side, and I do care about the victims, and I do care about those kids, and I do care about our crime statistics in New Zealand. And we are going to try different things. That is why we're doing what we're doing in mental health. We're going to try stuff, and we won't get it right all the time, and we may or may not hit our targets all the time, and we can have the gotcha conversations about all that stuff if you want, but actually what's important is the people. That's why Matt and I came to politics. That's what we're here to do, genuinely, to get better outcomes for New Zealanders. And so on boot camps, what we're doing there is something I think we're taking all the learnings from the past, we're taking all the advice that we've had from Defence, from police, from LSV, from community organisations doing incredible work. We're making sure that we can transition those kids back into community so they don't just get a great experience in a residential program, but actually it translates back to their daily life. And I'm proud of what we're doing, and we're going to pilot it, and we're going to try it, and we'll learn from it. But we are going to do things differently in this country. We have to get better outcomes and results for New Zealanders, and that's what I'm going to do.
So you just said that you're not going to hit every target. So what's the point of it?
No, I said we may not hit, but what we have to have is ambition and aspiration in this country, and we are setting some really ambitious and aspirational targets. What's important is that we try and we do things differently, and we get a different outcome for New Zealanders. So rest assured, I'm driving my ministers on those targets every month when I have a strategy committee where they come before me and I say, how are we going on those groups and what do we need to do differently and better? We're going to keep doing that. But what I'm saying to you is we may have we've got a program like boot camps. We're doing a pilot that starts off in July. We're going to put community organisations in there from day one. We're working with the families. We're working with the siblings of those troubled young people. We're making our community safer by taking them out of the community, and we're actually going to turn their lives around. But we are going to get things done in this country. We are here to get outcomes for the New Zealanders and to improve their daily lives, and that's what we're focused on.
But you might not hit your target.
Well, we are going to we are going to drive towards our targets, but you want to play a game of gotcha of did you hit this target or not hit this target. What's important is things have to change. We have to get something different. We have to do it. We have to get better outcomes as a result for New Zealanders. So that's why I've set targets across the whole of government, because I want everybody focused on driving towards getting them hit and surpassing them. That's the goal. But what I'm saying to you is we are going to do things differently. We're going to try things. And some things may work and some things may not work, but we're going to do things differently.
Prime Minister, one question from Whakaata Māori.
Yes, mate.
A group of licensed Māori translators have hit out at the upcoming Treaty Principles Bill, calling it factually incorrect and misleading. What do you have to say to this?
I'd just say to you, we haven't had any discussions or decisions around that bill in Cabinet, so that has not been a focus of conversation at this point.
Another question is, Whakaata Māori was built on the principles of the treaty, faces a $9.5 million funding loss in the next 3 years under your coalition government. Could they expect anything in the future?
Well, I think we're expecting delivery and performance from all government investment. You know, we've said that we want, we're spending a lot of money and we want to make sure it's getting good outcomes and good results. There have been savings programs, reprioritisation programs across the whole of government. But what I would say to you is there's no change to the Treaty of Waitangi. It's a founding document of New Zealand. We haven't had a conversation about the Treaty Principles Bill, and decisions haven't been taken and discussions haven't happened in our Cabinet. We're focused on other things at this time. And I just say to you, we appreciate the work that Māori media do, but actually we're expecting, as families have done up and down this country, adjusted their budgets, as businesses have had to do the same, as iwi organisations have had to do the same, we're expecting government to do the same, and that's what this has been about.
As of Monday, funding has been cut from 24 budgeting services and social agencies such as Auckland City Mission, which is crucial to not even Auckland but the whole country. And obviously with post-COVID support, but now in a cost of living crisis, that help is more important than it was during COVID. And they say the money is gone, but the demand isn't safe.
Yeah, look, from memory, I think funding peaked through the COVID period because it was COVID money that was put in place. I think it was up to $100 million across the country back in 2020, and every year since it's been phased out and phased down because actually it's COVID particular investment and money that's been put into the system.
But that money brought in demand, that now the money has gone away but demand hasn't.
And what I'd say to you is also I'm aware that MSD is also doing different contractual arrangements with different organisation and food banks up and down the country, and that work is continuing. As I understand it, Auckland City Mission has funding in place, and importantly also when people are doing it tough, there's a huge amount of money that's been made available for foods grants and other things as well. So there's an issue around MSD doing contracting and procurement with different partners as it goes through looking at the network and what it needs to do. And yes, there's been a lot of COVID money that was put into the system, but it has been stepped down, it's been time limited, and in many cases that has come to an end. But we are supporting the New Zealand Food Network, we are supporting certainly Auckland City Central Mission. We're also making sure that MSD is doing procurement, and in some cases it's actually adding more support into some of those organisations.
What do you think about the fact that they've had the half go in half in the food passes that they can give out to New Zealanders and they've split it in half?
Well, it's also the reality of that was money that was designed to support New Zealanders through the COVID crisis. The COVID crisis is now complete. I appreciate we have a cost of living crisis. Our government is working incredibly hard to get inflation down, which is the root cause of that problem. You have seen us announce, family boost credit. You've seen us announce removal of Auckland regional fuel tax. You've seen us announce tax relief that will come at the end of the month. We have MSD grants available for people who need hardship grants around food. We have support for the New Zealand Food Network, and MSD is going through a procurement process and contracting process with a number of different food banks and agencies.
Prime Minister, Labour admits that it didn't listen to people in at last year's election. Can you tell us where you think they went wrong?
No, that's up for them to make their own decisions. I don't talk to the Labour Party. Well, what I'd say is Aucklanders, and what I'm focused on, is making sure I rebuild the economy for Aucklanders. That's why we have removed the Auckland regional fuel tax. We are restoring law and order. That's why we have 53 more police officers on the beat in the Auckland CBD at the end of July. And we are making sure we deliver better health and education. That's why we've got announcements like today. I think arguments of trimming trees rather than dealing with the underlying sources of crime ain't going to cut it with Aucklanders. Okay, thanks so much, team. Okay.
Thank you.